Hello Year 9 NAPLAN students. This is the fourth 10-minute mini test in numeracy at standard level. This is all about knowing your decimal place numbers. And it's really quite simple. Let's say I've got 632 and I multiplied it by 35 to get 22,120. Now the question is, what is 6.32 multiplied by 3.5? Let me write this down too. Did you notice that in both of these lines, the numbers are exactly the same, 6, 6, 3, 3, 2, 2. The only difference is that we've got a decimal places. One here, okay? And when you look at the second line, you notice that there is a 3 and a 2 right behind the decimal point. And there's a 5 right behind the decimal point here. So altogether, I have three digits, 5 here, and there's a 2 and a 3 that are to the right of that decimal point. And so if we look at the answer, we could go 3 places back to find our decimal point, which will then be here. And that is 3 spaces after the decimal point. Can you see how easy this was? So our answer is 22.12. The 0 at the end is meaningless. You don't need to put that in. The ratio of wet days to sunny days on the holiday was 3:2. That means that there were 3 wet days and 2 sunny days. 3:2. And I'll put that colon over there because that's the ratio sign. Now, it seems that there were 12 wet days. So how many days were actually sunny? This is the question mark, okay? So let's put an unknown letter there, such as X. Right? So we'll put X. So at this point, let's just have a look at if there were 3 wet days, if the ratio was 3 wet days, and in fact there were 12 wet days, then in fact there were 4 times as many wet days. 4 times that amount. We had to multiply this by 4. So in that case, we're going to have to multiply this side also by 4. So 2 days become multiplied by 4 will become 8. There were in fact 8 sunny days. So our answer will be B. Now this method, there are many ways of doing this problem, but I chose to do it this way for the standard test. Once we do intermediate and advanced, I will show you more ways of doing it in the algebraic form. In all of the mini tests that I have done so far, and this is the 4th one, we've learned that we can change percentages into fractions. So 20%, we know that we can change that into a fraction of 1/5. We've done this before. So if Tia has 300 shares in a business, and this is the 20% of the total number of shares, that means that this is 1/5 of all the shares that she has. How many shares are there? This particular question is almost similar to the last question in the previous mini test. Because Tia has 300 shares, and this only represents 1/5, okay? This represents 1/5 of all the shares that she has. So I said, if you want to find out how many shares are there all together, I gave you this little trick and I said swap these two, the numerator and the denominator, and multiply that 300 by 5/1. Okay, and if you multiply that 300 by 5, then that will be, and you're not using a calculator, so you'll have to do it manually, but that will be 3 times 5 is 15, and there are 2 zeros added. That means that she has a total shares of 1,500. And in here, you need to write the answer. We don't have A, B, C, so you will need to write down up here 1,500. Here we need to arrange the numbers in order from the lowest to the highest. Now it's important that you know that it's the lowest to the highest. So I'm just going to make sure that I highlight that, lowest to highest. How do we find the lowest number? You'll notice in here that there are we've got 4 numbers, and the very first number has actually 4 digits at the end. The second one 3, the third one 3, and then the last one has only 2. It doesn't matter. What you're looking for is at the very first digit. So let me just highlight this very first digit. And so you ask yourself the question, which is the lowest digit? Well, it is going to be the 1 here. So I'll put it right up to the top, okay? And I crossed it out as well. Now we've got 3 left. Which is the lowest digit from this? You can see that 1 goes before 2, so we can do the same. Move that number up and cross out this one. Now we're going to be in a bit of a quandary because the last 2 numbers have the first digit 2 and 2. So now we're going to have to go to the next digit after that and check those out. So the next digit in here is going to be 0, and the next digit here is going to be 7. So we start looking at that. Which is the one which is the lowest? The one with the 0. So we can move that 1 here and cancel it, and the highest digit is the one that is 0.27. So I'll move that digit up here. Now we need to write this down in a rectangle. And we've just placed them from the lowest to the highest. Lowest here. Easy, wasn't it? Alright, this is our last question, and it asks us what is the number which is halfway between 0.2 and 0.7. If you are unhappy using decimal numbers, then why don't we change them into integers? Move that point to the right and also do the same thing over here. So let's put those numbers on a line graph. And you won't be given a line graph, but maybe you could draw one. And there's your 2, and there is the 7, and I want something halfway. So I'm going to go 1 back and 1 forward. 1 back and 1 forward. And here I have to meet in the middle. So my answer will be 4.5. Now remember that we cheated. We moved the decimal by 1 point. So we're going to have to reverse that decimal point by moving it to the left. And that means that if I move this to the left, then my answer will be 0.45. And most of you might like to put a 0 in front. So the answer will be 0.45. Now the other way that you might have wanted to do this is using the algebra method. The algebra method says that we're going to find the average of 2 plus 7 and then divide it by 2. So 2 plus 7 is 9. Divide this by 2 and you get 4.5. And once again, you want to change the decimal point, so it'll be 0.45.